everyone. Well, I don't know about you, but this full moon energy really kind of smacked me in the head. And I feel like right at this minute, I'm a little like, so I don't know about where you live, but probably, because there's a lot of these. I don't know about you where you live, but we have this local website that was like a neighborhood website that it's kind of like Facebook, but for neighborhoods. And people can post like what restaurants they like or don't like and where people are wearing masks and not. And when we were looking for hi Doris, when we were looking for recommendations for air conditioning repair, went on there and got really good recommendations and that kind of thing. And so just before I came on here, I got an email that somebody had found. There's, I guess, with the people who are really having a lot of economic hardship, and they're dumping their dogs, and that just even that phrase just makes me want to vomit. And so some folks, were talking about if you see a dog wandering, try and do that. And we have done that before. We have found dogs in the street and rescued them and rehomed them. And I'm a big believer in that. If you can do it safely and not calling animal services, because they're not always the greatest place. And all the places that we have adopted our dogs have all been rescues or from kill shelters. So we will adopt our dogs from those places, and cats too. We did. Yesterday was a lot better. We had the 4th was a little bit crazy. They had we had deer and all kinds of stuff. So it was, I think, less of a crowd on Sunday. So we did have 3 manatees yesterday. It was really fun. This same juvenile that we've been watching for a while keeps coming into the springs every day. He's really sweet. But so anyway, so somebody had posted on this neighborhood site of this so cute little dog, like about the size of my Toby. There's Toby, hard at work in the drawer. My Toby. And they were looking for a home, and the guy said he couldn't keep him, and I was like, I will take that dog. And then but everyone was really supportive about, please make sure you try and find the owners. And by the time, like, I got another notification, they had turned him over to animal services. And I thought, like, it had been just like a couple of hours and they had turned the dog over to animal services. And so my heart is just broken for this sweet little dog, especially for, like, I know for me personally, even as much as I've had animal communication with my Buster, who was my son Dylan's dog, Buster. And Buster was a really special dog. Buster was truly an empath dog. He was amazing. When clients would come to the house, he would circle them and he would stand next to them, like around them where there was an attachment or a cord or some kind of an issue that they had. And then he was really an amazing empath dog. He was really sensitive, and he would just a really extraordinary animal. And when we lost Buster, it just broke my heart. And the idea of getting another little dog, it's always appealed to me. I love Toby. I love Toby so much. But Toby and Dixie, 2 of our dogs of the 3, are, teenagers already. So it makes me, I know they have lots of ability to stay with us for a long time, but I always feel like I want to have the next generation in place, which we do with Buddy. He's 7, and Susie, the cat dog, is 2. But they turned the dog over to Orange County Services. There's so many other options for giving an animal to the pound, and just breaks my heart. And I really just want to drive over there and say, I'll take that dog. But I know that he would not be in their system yet, because I already checked. So he wouldn't be in there that fast. And he's super cute. So hopefully his family will find him. And having done this process several times, I'm knowing that it'll take a few days. Like they'll put a 7-day hold on him to see if somebody will adopt him, and then they'll take applications. So hopefully he finds a new home, or I'll check the website later and we'll see what happens. Of course, I have not mentioned any of this to my husband yet. So we'll see. Oh, but he was such a sweetie dog, and I hate to see any animal go into the shelter. So, all right, that's my little, like, I know, and I know we're still in the full moon portal of energy because I'm just like, so I have this anxiety in my stomach, and I've been reading. I love Wayne Dyer. If you're not familiar with his work, please do yourself a favor and check out anything he's written. And he talks about how nobody can, feeling anxiety is my choice, and I get that, but I feel like something is coming. And I felt that way on Saturday. I felt like something was coming. Where I go and guard the manatees at Blue Springs State Park, there's uh, the sides of the spring are really high, and so the erosion is really a big problem. And a few weeks back in a storm, a tree had fallen down into the water, and it had become a new climbing platform, and people were climbing it and jumping off of it. And when I was in the park on Saturday, I just felt really uneasy about watching this group of people jumping off of it, and they all were trying to outdo each other. And I said to the park staff, I said, somebody's going to get hurt. And now the park manager is a friend and knows about my abilities and knows that I do this work, and we've had many conversations about it. But I told him, I said, I feel like something is gonna, like, somebody's gonna get hurt. And then my shift was over and I left. Hi Jennifer, thanks for joining us today. So sure enough, when I went back on Sunday, because I was originally only supposed to work on the 5th, and they needed, they really didn't have the coverage that they needed for the 4th, and said, please, would you come? And I said, of course. So I went back on the 5th, and sure enough, there had been a big storm that came through on the 4th, at least where I live, and a tree blew down, and people got hurt. And when I pulled into the park the next morning, and he was, explaining what happened, I was just, and I felt terrible because, and there was nothing I was going to say. He knows that I do this work, but what am I supposed to say? You should close this part of the park because psychically I think that, it's dangerous. He has a responsibility to the park. And this is where I think a lot of people, I remember this feeling when I was in college. I had so much precognition. Now, there was so much energy because in the springs where I work, the walls are really high, and that keeps the energy compacted. And so if you are, especially if you feel like you are bombarded, if you are living in your life in a way where you feel like you're bombarded by energy, that's what it felt like. Because when you go down the spring run and it opens up into this big cul-de-sac where the spring head is and the water is coming up from the earth. And if you've never seen a natural spring, it's really amazing. You can literally see the water bubbling up from the spring. But it's this giant cul-de-sac with very high walls. They're like 30 feet high. So the energy really stays trapped in there. And when you have 150, 200 people swimming around in there, it is really hard to discern. It's like trying to sort spaghetti, cooked spaghetti. So if you have those feelings, I want to say that it's important to honor them, and it's really important not to beat yourself up about it. Because when I came in the next day and they said, this is what happened, I thought, oh man, could I have done something more? And this comes back to, for me, for the 3 questions. If you've hung around with me at all, I talk about the 3 questions. And I know Robin can type in the 3 questions. So, is this mine? Do I have the power to fix this? Did anybody ask me to fix this? And that's really the kicker right there, that 3rd one. That's the one. Okay. So do I have the power to fix this? Well, no, I didn't have the power to fix what happened because it happened after I was already done with my shift and I had gone home. So I didn't know anything about it. Did anybody ask me to fix it? Nope. They asked me to deal with it from that point on. They had closed off that area of the swimming, and part of my job yesterday was to make sure people weren't going under the barricade because, of course, people wanted to see what happened. And I will tell you, having that area, that private cul-de-sac of the springs all to yourself, It's pretty magical. So I definitely understood the emphasis to go under the rope, but it really just wasn't safe. So did anybody ask me to, do I have the power to fix it? Did anybody ask me to fix it? Nope. I can't get the tree out of there. Couldn't stop the people from getting hurt. None of that had anything to do with me, even though I had that premonition that I had called into the Rangers on the radio and said, somebody is going to get hurt. We can only deal with the information that we have at the time that we have it in the best way that we can deal with it with the information we have at the time. And that was kind of a rambling way of saying, let go. Okay, and this is advice as much for me as it is for anybody else. I think so many times the things that I am called to share with you are many of the things that I need to hear for myself, because there is a collective groaning going on. And right now, there are good things happening. And I know there's a lot of challenge. I know people are really struggling with money and employment and fear and anger and frustration. But there are good things happening. And it is a choice for us to look at where we want to insert ourselves. And it's like that old Indian story, that parable about the two wolves, and we all have those wolves inside of us, the good one and the evil one, and which one will you feed? That is the one that will grow. And so when we're choosing to dwell on the negatives of what we could have, should have, would have, we beat the crap out of ourselves, and it's not necessary, because it serves no higher purpose, it changes nothing, and it doesn't bring anything positive to the world. So we take the opportunity and say, okay, that happened. I don't like how that happened. I don't like how that was handled. I don't like how it turned out. I don't like my part that I played or that I didn't play. What can I do better going forward? And so we have the opportunity to look for blessings. And even when we see the tragedies and we see the challenges, because so many people are really going through challenges right now with unemployment. And I talked with a woman this morning who was really concerned because I work for myself, but her income is from real estate investment. And, for so many years we heard, real estate investment is the way to go. That'll secure your future because that's, passive income. And except right now, a lot of people can't pay their rent or their mortgage, and that's a big deal. So she's very concerned that she's not being able to pay the mortgage on these properties because she's not collecting rent, and that's her income. And I totally understand that that's creating fear. When we understand that we are cogs in the wheel and we are all in it together and we all row the boat together, when we all do better, we all do better. When only some of us do better, that means that some of us do worse. And I know this country, especially here in America, is so diverse, and the world is so diverse that, it's often impossible to make it better for this one without making it worse for this one. And so I want to remind you that the world is much more gray than that. It's not so black and white, that more than one thing can be true. And I had this conversation with my husband the other day. We were both remembering the same incident, but we were both remembering both parts and different parts of the same story. And I looked at him because we were kind of getting into this, well, if I'm right, then you're wrong and that kind of thing. And I looked at him and said, no, wait a minute. Why can't we both be right? Why can't both parts of the story be true? And we looked at it and we were like, we're both remembering different parts of the same story, and both parts are true. So as we go forward, I invite you to look at connecting and communicating, because, okay, we still have a whole crap ton of planets in retrograde, and we still have this lunar eclipse that we just had on Saturday, and we still have, in this country, we have 4 long months to an election cycle that, wherever it turns out, whether it's blue or red, is going to have volatile repercussions afterwards. And it's going to be a very dangerous 6 weeks from the election to the inauguration, no matter who wins. Okay. So it's really important for us to be the light bringers. And if you are somebody who is watching this and you've been called to our community and called to like my page and called to be tuning into the things that I'm putting out in the world, then you are a light bringer too. And it becomes on all of us to be the light bringers. And we can be the light bringers passively, but we have the power to be more active. And I'm not saying to go out and join the march unless you feel called to do so. I know for me, I can't really do that. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot. I come home really agitated and worked up. And some days I do that from the park too. I'm just emotionally exhausted because there's been a bazillion people and everybody's got all their energies and all this stuff is going on. But I still love being part of it because I know I'm making a positive difference for the manatees and for the rangers and for the people that are there, and to be part of something that's protecting a beautiful place and beautiful creatures. We look for the blessings, and we will see them if we look. If we choose to look for blessing, we will see blessing. But that doesn't mean to turn a blind eye to the contrast. I don't know what the opposite of blessing is because I don't want to use the word curse. But if we look at, it doesn't mean to turn a blind eye. When we look for blessings and we say, look for blessings and you will find them, it doesn't mean to turn a blind eye to the struggle. It doesn't mean to turn a blind eye to the challenges that our communities are facing. But it does talk about, for me, and the voices in my head, they talk about where can we be light bringers in these places of challenge? Where can we be? You know, when we light a candle, there's light in the world. And when we share the candle, now there's even more light in the world. And it doesn't diminish the first candle in the slightest. And so it's up to us to continue to spread the light. So today I shared a Facebook post on my personal page for a woman who is a client of mine who has her own new food. I think it's a food truck where she's offering Southern style home cooking breakfasts in an area of town for people to get good, nutritious, good hearty breakfast for not a lot of money. And this is her dream, is to feed her community. And she's offering, you know, great cooking, home cooking at a good price. And it was such an honor to be able to promote her on my Facebook page in her business, and a woman of color, and to be able to promote her business because this is her dream, is to be successful in this avenue. And such an honor to be able to support her, even if I can't quite get there to taste the food because it's clear on the other side of town, but I will still be so delighted to support her and promote her and to encourage others who may live in that vicinity to patronize her. So we look at the places where we can bring light and where can we be blessings in struggling times and in supporting people who are out there trying to make a difference in their community. And we do that by promoting and making awareness, bringing awareness to other people. And we also do that by looking at the causes that we contribute to. Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Thank you. My personal Facebook page is public. Anybody can comment as long as it is respectful. I often post things to be provocative, to create discussion. I'm not looking for yes men, but often to be provocative and create a discussion. I've noticed, though, the discussion has definitely dwindled. Less people are willing to engage in those conversations, and that's okay. It's not, you know, that's okay. But I think it's really important that we look at where can we contribute, and also to look at the charities that we contribute. And this kind of comes back around to the dog, to being able to, that's a place I can make a difference. You know, one of the reasons that we, you know, use the SPCA is our vet for the primary care of our pets, is so that because their prices allow us to own more pets. That's a place we can make a difference. Where can you make a difference? And don't misunderstand when you get these emails that say, can you chip in $5? Can you chip in $3 for whatever it is that's the charity of your choice? That makes a difference, because a ton of people giving $3 and $5 makes a difference. It adds up. President Obama was the first person to really use that grassroots effort of $5, $10, and it added up to millions because people got on board with that mission. So if you are thinking I could make a difference, but what a difference would $5 make? I want to tell you that it does. It makes a huge difference. And there's a story that I love about a little child walking along the beach where hundreds and hundreds of starfish had washed up on the shore. And she's walking along the shore, throwing them back to the sea. And a grown-up looked at her, and I've heard the story with boys and girls and blah, 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 blah. So a grown-up looked at her and said, what are you doing? You can't possibly make a difference. You can't possibly throw all the starfish back to the sea. And she looked at the starfish that she held in her hand and she said, well, I can make a difference for this one. And she threw it back. And I think that is so important. And if you you hear, the phrase, each one reach one or each one teach one, I think it makes such a humongous difference. This is how we make a difference in our world, especially as light bringers. Each one reach one. Each person that you talk to, you can bring a light bringer for that person. You can be a light bringer to bring a little bit of light into someone else's day, to be able to contribute to the idea that things will be okay, and able to contribute to the idea that our loved ones are still with us and that all things really are working together for our own good, for the good of our planet, for the good of humanity. I do not like the current president. I do not like the administration. I do not like the things that are happening in our society. However, and I do think that some of this could have been avoided, some of the crisis with the pandemic. However, and not to be all political, that's not where I'm trying to go. All of this has been about toxicity coming to the surface to engage people and to be able to bring light to all of these things that have happened in dark and shadows for far too long in all of our political landscapes, not just in America, but in so many political landscapes, for people to open their eyes and say, this is what's going on. They are doing backroom deals. They are doing shady things. They are doing illegal things. They think they're above the law. They're ignoring the will of the people. All of these things have been brought to light because of the current administration. And whether you love him or you hate him, that process, albeit difficult, like America is in puberty right now and it is painful. Whether you like him or you hate him, all of this is bringing things to the surface. Today, the Supreme Court unanimously brought down a decision that said the Electoral College must follow the will of the voters, that the voters are saying in their states, this is who we are electing as president, and that is what the electorate has to follow. And we saw in the 2016 election that that didn't happen in every state, that, the popular vote went to Hillary Clinton, but the electoral votes went to Donald Trump. And that is now illegal. And the ramifications that that is going to have on as it trickles down in the legal system is humongous. But that case never would have made it to the Supreme Court had not Donald Trump been elected. And we would have had a disparate electoral college for generations. We've already had it for generations, if not for Donald Trump being elected and for the Supreme Court, this case to go to the Supreme Court. This is huge because in my state, I live in Florida. And in my state, in the 2016 election, two other things happened that were really very important for us. One was that the voters in Florida overwhelmingly voted to give convicted felons back their voting rights once they had paid their debt to society. So if they were imprisoned and they served their time and they had paid their debt and they were ready to re-enter society, that they should be given back their voting rights overwhelmingly. But our Republican governor came in, and our state is led by a Republican state government, and they said, no, we're not listening to the voters. And they have been tying this up in court and making these citizens jump through hoops and hoops and hoops before they can get their voting rights back. The other thing that happened was the citizens of Florida overwhelmingly voted not to build 3 new toll roads that would go through the center of the state, where our most beautiful green, pristine places are, and where so many waterways that are important to our wildlife are, including manatees and otters and raccoons and possums and wolves and Florida panthers, and so much environmental impact. And the voters in my state overwhelmingly said, we do not want these 3 toll roads. And the governor got into office and said, yeah, we're going to build them anyway. And so that has also been fighting and fighting in court. We have been fighting that since the minute he was elected. This electoral college decision from the Supreme Court extrapolates out that the will of the people and the will of the voters is not to be dismissed. And there will be legal precedent from this that lawyers are going to use to fight these cases in court that says the voters voted and said these things were important. You don't get to just dismiss that. So this is huge. The ramifications and the effects, the ripple effects of this are going to go on for a while. And this is wonderful because it gives back to the people the power of their vote, not just at the presidential level, but the power of our vote, which means our voice is important. Okay, so I'm bringing it back around because this whole election cycle, this whole presidential cycle, this whole administration cycle, like it or don't like it, and we all, like I said, we all know how I feel about it, but this has reminded us that we have a voice. And for the women who come to my women's group that I lead on the new moon each month, I have been playing a song that I absolutely love by the amazing Alana Arian, and she is a Jewish singer-songwriter. She's incredible. It's Alana with an E, Alana. She has a song that you can look on YouTube and Spotify, and it's called "I Have a Voice." And the chorus of the song says, "I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world." And I hear Robin already clicking away to make a link for the YouTube video, and I appreciate that. But it is a really powerful song, and yeah, there's some Hebrew in it, but so what? It's a beautiful song, and it is so amazing that because the energy that is in the song, I have a voice, you have a voice. So it's not just about politics, but it is about our ability to change the world, our ability to use our voice, meaning our light, because our voice is not just this tangible thing that we have in our neck, okay? Our voice is our light. How do we share our light with others? How do we use this light to change the world? We share it with others. We light the candle one to the next. We share our light, and our voice is powerful. Our light is powerful. I'm thinking, I really hope I'm not frozen. Our voice is powerful. Our light is powerful. We can change the world when we share our voice, when we share our light. Okay, how you do that is up to you. And what I want to give you so strongly is there is no wrong way to share your light, and there is no not enough with sharing your light, because when we light one candle from the other, there you are. When I didn't see you pop up, I wondered if I was frozen. When we share our light one to the other, the first candle is not, did I do a good job? Did I share enough? Did I give enough light to light? Is it enough? No, we shared the light is there, we move on. So when you can share your light with the world, you make an enormous difference. And there is no such thing as I didn't share enough, or I didn't do enough good with my light, because any amount of sharing the light is exactly the right amount. So when we think, like for me, I think, oh, those marches are wonderful, they're so powerful, but I do not have the ability, the emotional, it's not healthy for me to go. But that doesn't mean I can't do something else. So when we talk about these $5 contributions and $3 contributions to the cause of your choice, it makes a difference, because we're sharing the light one to the other. We have a voice. Our voice is powerful. our voice can change the world. Robin has posted the links to the YouTube. That YouTube video is so powerful because it was made at summer camp, and it is a whole group of teenagers just singing this at the top of their lungs. It gives me the goosies just even to, to think of the video. I encourage you to watch it. Hi, Claudette. Welcome. It is so amazing to hear our young people screaming, I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. And what I want to remind you again and again is that your light is part of your voice. Your voice, you have a light. Your light is powerful. Your light can change the world. It is the same. It is the same. Okay. All right. I never know what they're going to ask me to say when I come on, and I always just ask them, give me the words, tell me what you want me to talk about today. And I know originally we were doing just 30 minutes, and these things have been getting a little longer, and I'm delighted. I am absolutely okay with that. I do want to say, and we will get to some mini readings today as well. I do want to say, because I was talking about being in the springs and feeling that energy overwhelm. If you are somebody who feels that energy overwhelm when you're getting in a crowd of people, shoot me in the comments. Don't shoot me. Hit me in the comments, right in the comments. If you are a person who gets that way, that feels that energy overwhelm when you're around a whole lot of other people, let me know, because I want to, we're going to have some workshops coming up, some webinars coming up, and I want to be able to help teach you how to shield yourself and bubble yourself and really protect yourself from being so overwhelmed by all those people. And that's not to say that it won't still happen. So on 4th of July, I had my crystal on my neck, I had my crystals in my bra, and yet I still, by the end of the day, I still got a little bit energy overwhelm from the people around, because I was dealing with a couple of toxic people, but for the most part, really, really good. And I think it's something I know I would not have been able to do before I learned how to do all these things. And I would love to be able to share with you if you are someone who is struggling with energy overload or feeling that negative energy, or even just energy from people, because even feeling positive, elated energy, happy energy can still feel overwhelming when it's, a lot. So if you're somebody who struggles with energy being overwhelmed like that, go ahead and put it in the comments, because I'd love to hear from you. Now, this is interesting. So this is, we've been doing a lot with our Goddess Power Oracle cards. So this is Morrigan, and it says Death and Magic with Morrigan. So I'm going to look her up and see what she's got to say, because I know that she is part of the Merlin legends and that mythology. And it's not the right word, but let's see. She says, consider your life a magical gift and your experience of it a beautiful opportunity to leave the world a better place. That's interesting. You give that gift back when death comes and ends your time on this plane. Experiences, relationships, projects, even long cherished dreams are all subject to the natural laws of death and magic and of the Celtic goddess Morrigan. Now is the time for you to let certain parts of your life die and recognize this process as something to celebrate as well as to mourn. Let go with love and gratitude. Leave your fears behind, for in death there is great magic, and nothing can ever truly be destroyed. From the ashes of the old, a new life and new dreams come to be. Face this time of dying and death with love and courage. Be willing to be empty. Soon the goddess Morrigan will fill you up with magic, and a new world will be born for you. Okay, so this really goes along with what we were just talking about things coming up to be dealt with and shed and released, and really be seen, these more fetid parts of our society that have been coming up as we've been moving through the last 3 years. And it's even more things that are going to happen over the next few months as we move to the American election, through the American election cycle. Isn't that amazing? I think that's absolutely incredible. Both your daughter, Caitlin, and son, Brandon, get overwhelmed in crowds. It was hard. I'm telling you, for a long time, I couldn't leave my house. Not like I couldn't leave my house, but I always joked that I would make a great shut-in because I'm perfectly happy working from home because I don't have to deal with all the energy out there. I'm not recommending, but hi, Cameron, welcome. But it was very overwhelming for me. I mean, we would go to, friends would come into town and we would go to Disney, and I would just be like hyperventilating the entire time, being like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Or we would go to parties and I would be the first person out the door. I'd be like, all right, it's been 45 minutes. I can leave now, right? And I always felt terrible because, you miss all the good stories and people are like, doesn't she like us? What's going on? And I always felt bad. I'm like, it's not you, it's me. But really, I mean, when you say that, who believes that? So it was really life altering, because not only as I learned to stand in my own power and use my voice and share my light, not only did I feel stronger when I would go places, but I started to attract people who understood and respected my boundaries and loved me for who I am and how I am. And when I say I've had enough, I need to go now, I'm choosing to go now. They're like, we love you. We're so happy to see you. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later. Like, there is no guilt or anything, because I have shifted the people that are around me, because the universe has shifted the people that are around me and surrounded me with people who understand. Oh, Doris, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That always makes me so happy when I'm sharing or being called to share is resonant for you. That makes me so happy. Okay, so we have our first. Oh, I'm shuffling the wrong cards. I'm sorry. More goddesses are wanting to come out, but you know what? I always respect the cards. So I did that. I pulled Ix. I don't know how to say this, her name. It's Ayx. I think it's Ix. I'm not 100% sure. But interesting that she's right along with Morrigan, who is 37, and this is 39 of the cards that are numbered. So let me see, because I always respect jumping cards. So she didn't really jump, but I pulled her. So I'm not going to put her back into the pile without honoring her energy with reading her. What is going on with that? reading her message. There are times, oh, well, now I understand why. Okay, so it says there are times when you must surrender your need to know. Some things only open up when they choose to, not by demand. The mysterious and the unknowable is the domain of the Greek goddess. Oh, Nyx, and what? It's an N. No wonder, N, Nyx. She shows you the veils that may not be part for you at this time. Right now, you're meant to keep on your path, trusting that the secrets will be revealed as she decides. Remain true to your intentions and keep moving forward, remaining curious and open to what you can discover. Allow your need to know the details right now to fall away and just be present to all that life is offering. Judge nothing good or bad. Oh, I love that. Judge nothing good or bad. Just be with what rises. The treasure that you seek will be revealed. This is really important because this is so much of what we were talking about with understanding of all these things that are coming up, to be seen and to be noticed in our society, that all of this stuff that has been toxic and hidden away for so long is coming up, and we look at it and we immediately judge this is bad or this is good, except that, yes, Louise Hay would say, for years, she would say, you have to see the dirt before you can clean it. So all of these negative things and toxic things that are coming up for us, and in our society, this is the dirt. This is the toxicity that is being brought up so that we can fix it, so we can heal it, so that we can address it in our society and stop hiding from it. So we're very quick to label things good or bad. And I think I mentioned before today in our time together today, earlier, that things are not just black and white. It's a much more interesting place, that we must learn to see the good in even the challenging times. There is blessing even in our strife. Nothing is good or bad. It is seeing the blessings in it. What did Shakespeare said? Nothing is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. I think that's a Shakespeare quote. Kimberly Vance Brady, I am not yet doing ratings. We're still doing our cards of the week, but I feel very confident that that one of the cards is going to be resonant for you. And I do feel like that someone is ill around you. And I want to counsel you patience, and I want to give you strength, because I feel like that this has been a bit of this has really been a journey for you. But I want to tell you to be patient with the one who is ill around you. So hopefully that is helpful. I'm not seeing an outcome on that right now, but I want to counsel you to give it patience. I feel like it's not ready to resolve itself just yet. So be patient in that. I hope that that is helpful. And as soon as I say we're not doing readings, and they're like, excuse me, wait a minute, we want to tell her that. So I'm so delighted for that. So here is, so here is our first card, which is Break the Chain, Ancestral Patterns, Healing, and Rewriting the Future. Okay, so is this not exactly what we were just talking about? Does this do better if it does. Okay, is this not exactly what we were just talking about? Breaking the chains of the way things have always done. We were doing them because that's how they always were. We're not awake. We were just letting society move along. And now we are engaged. We're using our voice. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world and break these ancestral patterns. This is huge, that we are being reminded that it is important for us to be involved, however it works for you to be involved. Remember, there's not an enoughness involved in this. Okay, breaking ancestral values and ancestral chains and the traditions of how we did things, if they no longer fit, that it's okay to make those changes. We have so many people who are like, change, and okay, guilty. So most of you know I also work as a director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. I've been with Mary Kay for over 20 years, and this morning the company announced, our iconic pink Cadillac, and that we've had for 50 years. And this morning the company announced new cars that are available for our sales force to earn the use of, and we are offering a pickup truck. Mary Kay is offering the use of a pickup truck that consultants and sales directors can earn the use of driving a Mary Kay pickup truck. It's 56 years with this company. I never in my life thought I would see a pickup truck, because we're kind of girly company. But apparently there's a need and a desire. And it is, and we do have a storm moving through. Yeah, we do have a storm. This is Florida in summer. But so apparently there is a need and a desire. And so Mary Kay is making the change to be more accessible, to shift from the way things were always done, and to step into the future, to move forward and to break those ancestral chains. So this is really important, because this is all about using your voice in the most effective way for you. It isn't about using your voice in the same way that another person is, but it's about using your voice in the way that's most effective for you. So our second card is Protection. And this says, call back your power, cut the cords, soul retrieval. Okay, so this is all about when people put cords on us, and when we get attached and involved in other people's drama, we can get, even family, they put a cord attachment on us, especially in the back heart where we hold heartbreak and betrayal, abandonment, all those kind of issues. We can get pain in our heart and our third eye, and we lose our voice. When we are in those places, we lose our voice. When we are feeling, it's really raining now, when we are feeling that energetic suction that someone else is pulling on us, when we're feeling that not enough, we feel into conflict, we lose our voice, we get quiet. When we move into a place of conflict, we get quiet, and we don't always speak up or spread our light. And when we get into a place of conflict, the best way to protect ourselves, and this is one of the things I'm going to be teaching in our upcoming webinar, is when you are in a place of conflict, the best thing to do is push your light out. Push your light out. Spread your light. You have a light. Your light is powerful. Your light can change the world. And to be able to use that to push negative elements away from you is powerful. So I love this card to remind you that you are protected. Not only are you protected by them, but you have so much ability to protect yourself. You have so much ability to protect yourself. All right, last card, Inner Temple. It says, devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. Oh, I love this. Okay, so tune into the portal of your heart. This is dripping. This is all about being true to what is inside of you, being true, sharing your light, sharing your voice, being true to what you are passionate about, because so often we feel like, well, what can I do? What difference can I make? But if you're the starfish, you're the child on the beach, you can make a difference. Even if you make a difference for just one, you can make a difference. So don't choose to step back thinking you're not enough or that you can't do enough. There is no such thing as enough. And I got an email today from one of the political groups that said, what you're doing is not enough. And I'm like, shut up, because that's not the message that we want to spread. That is not the message of the light bringers. The light bringers is we must continue to do the work. We must continue to spread the light, but never think that what you're doing is not enough. Because if you are the candle and you spread the light to one person, you have done your job. And your light is not diminished, and their light is now flourishing because you did your job. So whatever part that you can play in bringing about the change that you want to see in your community, in your society, by being a light bringer, that is the right answer. Follow your light, your voice and your light are the same in my mind. Follow yourself, your truest heart, your light. All of these things are connected. They're all right here. They're all connected. Your voice, your heart, your light comes from your heart. The seed of your soul comes through. Let that be your guide. Listen, how can I bring light to the situation? How can I bring light to the situation? And whatever that answer is absolutely the truth. Oh, I'm so glad, Kimberly. So we have Morrigan, who is guiding us, and she is reminding us that even when we are letting go of things and cycles are ending, that there is blessing because new things are coming in. And we have seen that so true. And we know that right now that so much has been being churned up. This is like humanity, especially in America, is in puberty right now. And this is all being churned up and all the pimples are coming to the surface so we can deal with this stuff. And so it's not a bad thing. It's a different thing. It's churning. And we don't like that. We talked about that before, about how we don't like change, right? So this is Nyx. And she jumped in to help us remember that just because we can't see how everything ends right now, and I think this might have been for Kim, that just because we can't see how everything is going to end doesn't mean that that's a bad thing, and to allow the universe to carry us, to trust the universe as it moves us forward, okay? Cutting cords, having and it's hard. It's hard, Claudette, because it is so hard, Claudette, because you are, when we are cutting cords and then there's that part of our mind that goes, well, I wonder how they're doing. Cord, we reattach. So cutting cords, people have this idea, and we'll talk about cutting cords in an upcoming webinar, but cutting cords, people think, I did it, I'm done. And it doesn't work that way. So when you have that, you want to make sure that you continue to keep that cut and don't let those cords reestablish, and to be able to say, oh, Pete, you're coming into my head. And to be able to, I'm so sorry, Claudette, because that energy just shifted right in my head for Peter's question, that when we're cutting those cords, when we have those thoughts of reestablishment, that to be able to say, this thought is not for my highest good. This thought is not for my highest good. I release this thought. Cut. So that's a process we have to go through over and over again. Peter, I don't. If you're asking me for mediumship, because I sense that you are, I'm not. But there is a lot of energy around you, Peter. But I'm not doing mediumship right now. But I want to tell you, as soon as you came on and asked that question, Peter Price, that there is a lot of energy around you from the world of spirit. So I want to say to you, I can't put a name to this. I don't have a specific person right here, but I want to say that there is a lot of energy around you from spirit. They're trying to get your attention. And if you want to set up something separately, I'm happy to talk with you about that. But I would encourage you to sit in some meditation meditation and really listen, because they are trying to talk with you. There's a lot. I feel like they're trying to get you to make a big shift in your life, Peter Price. But I'm not getting a specific person, but they're really pushing on my ear that there's probably 3 to 5 people that are in the spirit side that are really working together to help you shift your life. And so where you are being led, please go with that, because that is coming from a place of love, of pure love for you. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so we are breaking the chain of our ancestral patterns. We are not doing things the way we've always done them just because. This is our time to change and to use our voices to create the new world that we want to see. It is up to us as the light bringers, okay? And knowing that we are protected, that we own our energy, we own our light, we have the power to keep those things from overwhelming us, we have the power to keep those things from coming in that we do not choose to have negative come in, and that we have much more power than we think, and that we can use that power. We use our light, we use our voice. We are so much more powerful than we think. Even as one, we can make so much of a difference. Remember the starfish. It makes a difference to this one. And however many of you are here today watching this video, I want to thank you for sharing the time with me, because it makes a difference to me. And hopefully it makes a difference to you, and it creates the ripples on the water that we talk about all the time. And you take those ripples and you take the difference back home to your family and your community, and you make a difference there. And together we create more ripples on the water, and then we cavitate off of each other when our ripples bump into each other, and we create more ripples. Our voice is powerful. Okay, and thank you again to Robin, who posted a link to an amazing song by a Jewish singer-songwriter named Alana Arian. Her song is called I Have a Voice. This song is amazing. I really encourage you to watch the video and check it out. It is so powerful to see our young people yelling and screaming and cheering and singing, I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. And if you take that in your mind and you say the word voice, but you hear light, I have a light. My light is powerful. My light can change the world. We have so much ability to affect change in ways you don't even understand yet. So protect your inner temple, protect your heart, and share your light. Share your light with the world. This is the most important card. This is the most important card. Better together. Absolutely, Katja. Share your light with the world, because this is the way we're going to change. We're not going to change this country. We're not going to change this planet through anger and screaming at each other. And we've lost our ability to have civil conversations with people who don't agree with us, who don't think the same. And our current president in this country is determined to create more division. And so it becomes to us to bring people together and to share the light and to share messages of love, and to know that when we look for blessings, even in places of strife, we will find them. And it is our choice of what we choose to look at. And Wayne Dyer, as I said, if you're not familiar with his work, just pick up anything that he's written. When he talks about when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Look for the blessings and look for places you can be a blessing. Okay? Be the light bringers. Look for places you can bring the light. Share the light. Thank you for sharing time with me, for sharing your light with me, for allowing me to share my light with you. I pray this has blessed you in some way today, and I want to thank you so much for being part of our community of light. If you like these videos, please share them with a friend. If you are interested in upcoming webinars, please throw that in the comments. We're getting ready to launch some upcoming webinars that are going to be smaller workshops. So we're going to be able to teach you some tips to help you navigate as the energy is going to continue to rise and shift, at least in this country, until we get past the election. And I'm telling you, it's going to last really until the end of January and into February. So if you're a person who's being bombarded with energy and having trouble with things like that, it's going to be really important that we're teaching you some things that are going to help you ride the storm. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for being part of our community. As always, like, share, post, tag. We're getting ready to close in on our 700 goal. So please be part of that. If you like these videos, if you like my page, please share it with a friend. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy belated 4th of July in this country, and know how very much I love you and appreciate you. Mwah. Be blessed.